to the main, what is that code by default for that main room? How is it represented in a variable? 0, absolutely. And how do we know how many different subrooms are within a particular room or attached to a room? Based on what? The numbers, absolutely. 1, 2, 3. I may have 3 to 1 room, right? I may have 1 to 1 room. I may have none to a room, right? So what I'd like to do is just kind of really recap that to let it soak in a little bit more for you this morning. So I've got a presentation that Xact has put together. It's really good and it kind of makes you stop and think. I will tell you that I got caught on one of the questions. We were going strong in our class and I was like, oh, and that's going to be W plus. And I'm sitting here trying to be all technical. It was a very easy answer. Totally missed it because I was so into trying to think I had to get to the technical part of it. So I want to see how you guys can do based on what we went over yesterday. I want to replace all the drywall on all the walls and ceilings. What is my variable code? WC, absolutely. I want to replace floor covering vinyl in the kitchen main room only. Main room only. I want to replace the floor covering. I'm not asking you what the line item is. We're only talking variables. So if I've already chosen that line item, what is the calculation? What is that code that pops up into the calculation? I'm looking at the floor. What's my code for the flooring? F. What is my main room? 0. Replace a 3-foot wainscot wall paneling on the walls. Now this could be a little tricky. Remember how we were talking about perimeters? Perimeters around the ceiling, perimeters around the floor. And then we were talking about the code that you actually used in one of your estimates where you had to use an LF code, and I explained to you that meant it was coming up from the floor, right? Well, in the variable world, if I was using PC for the ceiling, then I needed to come down a foot for drywall. I could, let's say 2 feet for drywall. I could say 2 PF, and all of a sudden it represents feet. So if I'm asking you how to replace the wainscot wall paneling, what is my variable going to be? What do I have to look? It's all around the entire room. Okay, perimeter what? So P, am I using the ceiling or am I using the floor? PF. Now how do I get 3 feet? No. I put it in front of it. So what is the code going to be? 3 PF, absolutely. So you guys really are retaining more than you think you are. Replace drywall on the ceiling only. What is that variable representing my ceiling? Guys are doing great. Replace the hardwood flooring in the storage only. Look at the code on the storage. F, great. Makes you think, doesn't it? But now think about this, guys. You're sitting here going through this. You're taking your guesses. You're figuring it out. How much quicker do you think it's going to assist you when you're in quick entry? Knowing that code.
Excuse me, real quick with the F3, the 3 is representing what?
That was actually the room. That was the sub-room, the third sub-room. Paint the walls and ceiling in the kitchen, main area, and the pantry, plus the ceiling in the bay. Wow. Let's start it. Let's piece it together. Paint the walls and ceiling in the kitchen main. WC what? In the main.
0.
WC 0, okay. And the pantry.
1. 0.
Okay, I've got WC0 plus
WC1
WC1 plus the ceiling in the bay.
plus the
Plus what? Not 2C,
Oh, two.
plus C2. So we've told it ceiling, second subroom. You guys just figured that out. All you have to do is take one part out of it at a time and put it together. Forgive me. Replace chair rail on the walls except the pantry. Now, how do you think I'm going to calculate chair rail?
Linear feet.
Say it louder.
Like the floor.
Like the floor. And what did we use for the code for the floor? F for flooring. What about if we're going around? The perimeter of the floor. Absolutely. So if I know that I have a PF code and I'm saying replace the chair rail on all walls. First of all, what's my code? All walls. What represents everything?
Just the letters, right?
Absolutely. So what is it going to be? PF. So we're going to say PF minus.
Well, PF.
If I said PF minus 1, it would do the perimeter of the floor minus 1 foot.
minus 1.
So I have to define that room. Absolutely. It's going to be PF minus PF1.
Okay, hold on. Where's the P from? That's
The perimeter of the floor.
perimeter. Okay.
Right. Remember, we were talking yesterday, we could use that base. We can use it for anything that's going around the floor. And then if we were looking at the ceiling perimeter, it'd be a PC for perimeter of the ceiling. Replace 3 light fixtures. Just 3. This is where I was saying, okay, it's going to be LIT dot, yeah, it's 3. It's calculating.
So just 3. Oh, that's
Just
right. 'Cause
3.
they're going to buy the
You
items.
said replace 3 light fixtures. Replace the crown molding in the kitchen main room only. Now, we've been talking about different things going around the walls.
So PC.
PC0, absolutely.
Okay.
You guys are doing great.
Perimeter.
Clean the walls and ceiling in the pantry and half the walls in the bay. So let's piece it together. Who could give me the code for clean walls and ceiling in the pantry? So if I'm going to do the pantry, what am I looking at? Okay, it's the code of 1. How do I clean walls and ceilings?
C.
WC what?
One.
WC1, right? And half the walls in the bay.
Divided by 0.5. Right.
Okay, so I've got WC1, I'm adding to it, correct?
Plus.
Plus half the walls in the bay. What is the code for the bay?
Oh, so 2, so WC1 plus 0.5 WC2.
God, you guys are great.
Wow.
You guys are doing fantastic.
Oh, just W2.
Replace hardwood floor in the entire room except an area that measures 4 by 3. How do I replace all the flooring?
Perimeter.
All the flooring.
Oh,
Just
W.
Yeah, just
F, okay? So F minus, because it's telling me to take it out, right? An area of 4 by 3. So what is my calculation?
F minus 12.
F minus 12 or F, and then in parentheses, 4 times 3. Don't overthink it like I did. Paint a wall that measures 10 by 8.
Times in this is an answer,
Yes,
and divide is,
you can use a slash. Paint a wall that measures 10 by 8. I already have my code. Who can give me a paint code? P and T, P. Now what is the calculation? Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Paint a wall that measures
80.
10 by 80. Absolutely. Great job, everyone. You see how it all comes together? It really begins to make sense. When you can see that whole picture, that sketch, and you understand all of the different codes for the subrooms. Well, Lord, what if I'm not in sketch? Well, we went in and we looked yesterday in the line item entry to show you a little calculator. If you're in that area, you can look to see, oh man, what was that jog out? Which one was it? Oh, it was number 3. Got it. The information is readily available for you. Any questions on that? Awesome. Then y'all ready to just delve in this morning, are you not? Yes,
Is
ma'am.
there a page? Is there a whole list of all the codes in here? Or
I will be giving you some handouts. I'll do it really at the end of,
That's right. You did say that. Okay.
at the end of the week so that you will have it as your cheat sheet. And listen, what you will probably want to do as you're practicing, get you a little sticky pad and the most commonly used, WC, look at those things. If you need to, put it on your keyboard. Anything that you want. If you like a shortcut, if you can't remember what it is, go ahead and put it on that shortcut on your keyboard. I pass out the papers because a lot of and I do it a lot of times during deployments because adjusters like to put things up on the wall in front of them and have it right there. But who knows, you can over paste your wall and then you can't find anything.
Right.
So look at the most commonly used items. I will also give you some other things that will help you, some resources that will help you. Most commonly used codes so that you can look at those, become familiar with them, use them over and over. Anything that I can find for you, I'm going to give to you. Anything that I feel will help. Plus, you do have my number in case you get stuck. But what are you not going to do? Absolutely. What are you going to do?
Yes.
Yes.
Identify who you are.
Identify. Lori. Hi, what you doing? And this happens. Oh, I'm sorry. Who are you? Listen, I was in your class. You had about 200 people in there, and I was the one that was wearing. Say. But if you send me a text and say, hey, this is Olga, I have a quick question when you have time. I'm trying to do this. Then that helps me when I call you back, know exactly where we're going. Okay? And yes, I do actually pass out my number in every class I've ever taught. Oh, I have someone else out in the field. They pass it out like peppermint candy. Those storms hit, and I'm like, hey, Jimmy told me to give you a call. That's great. What can I do for you? All right, so yesterday, we got a lot deeper into drawing our rooms, using our break tools. Let's do a little recap here. R is for
Room.
D is for
Floor.
W is for
Window.
M is for
Missing wall.
gosh, you guys got this stuff down. B is for
Break.
V as in Victor.
Vertex.
Doggone, look at you guys. Can I only use the break one way? How many ways can I use it? 2. I can use a hard break or a square break, right? And they're still both called square breaks, just so you know, but it's a single break. Or I can do what? A double break. And how do I do it? What do I have to do before I drag it? Let's talk about control and give it a big head now. What do we do first? We have to take that mouse and what do we do on it? We actually have to hold it down. Remember, you can sit there and say drag, but what a lot of you got started doing yesterday, remember, you were just trying to drag it. You have to place it and then drag it. Don't forget. Is that only valid in a break? No, what else can we do it with?
We did it with a door.
We did it with the door. What else do we do it with? Window. What else? You used it yesterday. You had areas that you needed to walk into another room that had a flat arch. Missing walls? Absolutely. You guys are doing great. You really are. Any questions on what we covered in sketch yesterday? Actually doing the rooms, you were able to add your staircase, you've learned how to turn your staircase the direction you need. It's a lot of information, isn't it? So we're going to proceed forward with the roofs. Let's discuss those roofs from yesterday. Man, that was tough, wasn't it? But was it tough when you took it step by step and didn't look at it as a whole, but broke it down? Everything has to be broken down, just like when you're doing the rooms. Remember I showed you that when you had that offset in the room, that if you didn't have anything attached to it, the measurement shows up differently. But the minute you have now a break in that wall, it stops the measurement and then continues with another measurement. And that can get confusing sometimes. So those are the types of things to remember. What's the most important thing to remember about the roof? Start with the main roof, right? And then don't sit there and say, oh, I've got to pull here and I've got to put one thing at a time. One area at a time. And if we have those instances of where it looks like we've got this overbuild, something funky going on the other side, or it looks like our drawing has just stopped short, what's the first thing we're going to look at? Sorry? The ridge line. We're going to go ahead and click onto that roof, look at the handles. If that handle hasn't tied into the ridge, absolutely. That's the first thing we're going to do to correct that. Now remember what we also talked about. It was an easy way to kind of understand it was which slope is shared can define which ridge line you have to tie into. So if I already had an overbuild pulled out and then I had a secondary overbuild pulled out like we did yesterday, and my secondary overbuild was actually coming from the first overbuild, am I going to try to tie it back to the main roof? No. No. Where do I go? Whatever I said, absolutely. We're going again. We shared a slope, did we not? All we had to do was look at the roof that we shared the slope with. That's an easy way to remember it. How many of you like drawing rooms? Enjoy the interior? How many of you enjoy looking at it in 3D to find out if you've done something wrong? How many of you enjoyed the roofs? We've got some work to do. All right, so let's get started. I would like for you to turn to page. I want you to turn to page 103 in your book, if you would, please. And go ahead, and if you would please, open up a new claim for Key Boone. And again, I'm not worried about you filling in all of the address information. Let's just give that poor file a name, give it an insured's name, and make sure your price list is correct, that your sales tax is set properly, and then meet me at sketch. I don't, because of course, when we, if we were trying to exit, it would tell us we couldn't, but I'm not too concerned about that right now. You all know that you need to look at that every time, right? And I will tell you, these practices that they have in this new book, they are incredible. There are so many more in here than in the last book. It really will help you, and each one has some type of estimate that goes along with it. So we always want to use the resources.
Okay, send me that.
When you're at sketch, if you'll turn your name tag on the side for me.
Mary, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we only view the variables, when we're actually doing one particular or is there like a way?
So when we get into graphical sketch, which we're going, or graphical estimation, which we're going to do today, you're going to see how it's going to show you the variable as we go. And if you need to change it, I'll show you how to change it.
Okay.
Where the variables for the subrums come in, that is something that you really want to do through line item entry or quick entry.
Okay.
What you're going to find, there are a lot of people that say, I only use graphical sketch or graphical estimation, or I only use quick line entry. The combination of the two actually provides you the quickest method.
Okay.
So we'll use graphical estimation for one purpose, and we're going to use the quick entry for another. And you'll see what I mean, because it's so easy sometimes to capture a lot of things, take care of one thing at one time, like kind items, and then use graphical to get more detailed. Yes, ma'am.
Good question. This, well, two questions. This deductible this time, it doesn't have the same verbiage that it had before, so we just,
Don't even worry about the deductible right now.
okay. And then you said something about the tax.
The sales tax. I just want you to get in the habit of going into that sales tax and choosing neither. Crawford requires that.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I was here on the first day, so I don't have like a price list updated. Is that something I can do really quickly or?
So let's go look through yours to see if you actually have the ability to request. If yours is registered.
Okay, and it's, I can just do it.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. No, all everyone should touch is just like. So remember, and to go further, the question was, do we ever have to do anything with the sales tax and the rate? If we're in an area where we have multiple rates, your system will come in from Crawford with a price list based on zip code, and normally will have a rate with it. If we have multiple rates, you may be told which rate to use. That is not where we would ever change it, Gloria. We would actually do that when we're choosing the price list in our parameters, and then choosing that sales tax to associate to the price list. Okay, so the only thing I ever want you to address for now in the sales box radio button is choosing neither on the tax type. Okay? Does everyone's screen look like this, or do you have a blank screen?
Blank.
Don't you love the fact that it has a memory? So if you have a blank screen, open up a new claim, it's actually following what you've done before. If you don't have a blank screen and you have all of these boxes up, your quick method to get to that blank screen is Shift Enter.
And if you needed to get back to that, then what?
I'll show you once
Okay.
we get there.
Okay.
I like to have a clean pad. I like to have as much room as possible to draw. I don't want anything making me have to lean in, squint, and try to figure it out. Okay? All right, so the first thing I want to do, is everyone there with me? Let's see, who hasn't turned their name tag up? Are we ready? Awesome, yes, sir.
Quick question on the neither. What part? I can find that neither.
Under
part.
tax type.
Sales tax.
So when you open up the sales tax radio button,
Yeah.
go to tax type,
There's
and you should have neither O&P on tax and tax on O&P as your three options.
just gotta type it in.
No.
No, you just
That
choose
drop down.
it.
No, it is.
Okay, got it.
Great,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thanks.
So ladies and gentlemen, let's get into some more roofs. So you have the comfort level in that as you do with your rooms, okay? This is not difficult. Turn over to page 104. There's the roof we're going to draw. Doesn't look too bad after yesterday, does it?
No, but
No.
there's a trick to that.
Well, back on page 103, it's actually giving us the roof dimensions before the offset and garage. So it's telling us what the dimension of the main roof is. What does it say? 44 by 32. What is our shortcut key for a roof?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and put that roof up there. What type of roof is it? It is a hip roof. Great. And what does it tell us that our slope is? 412.
Can you go back to
What do you need me to do?
the where we changed the slope at? Do we do the all thing
It's
again?
already set.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So remember, if we change that roof type first, and that slope in this instance was defaulted to a 4, we want to keep it there, it will change all of those slopes to that slope, or all the slope to the one that was on the original gable. If we had dropped a hip roof first, then we would have had a 6. If we went in and said, oh, it needs to be 4 and it needs to be gable, and we changed that slope first before we change the roof type, we might have an issue when we get to changing the roof type. So start from the top and work down. Is everyone with me? Once you are, name tags down. Who needs me to do that one more time? Okay.
Let's do it one time. We do anything with the offset? Then it says.
I don't want you to do anything other than get that 44 by 32.
Okay.
So you don't go into the program to change the slope.
Oh, yes. I want you to set that main roof. I want the slope set. I want it changed to a hip. So I want that main roof. Mhm. I'm going to bump it, put in my 44, bump, put in my 32. Now I have my gable that I've laid on the sketch pad, correct? I'm going to go into the properties. I'm going to change the roof type to a hip. I can come down to the slope and rise. And if I click on it, it's going to show me that it is already setting everything to that 412. And while I'm here, I'm actually going to go ahead and name it main hip as they're showing us.
Oh,
Here's the name. Here's our slope and rise, our roof type. So don't look at any other dimensions. If mine are slightly different than yours, don't worry about it. I want to make sure you have the 44 by 32, main hip, roof type hip, and set to a 412. Name tags down once you're there.
what happened? When you type in main hip under your grouping code, is it supposed to, did yours change or? 'Cause I didn't notice that yours changed. Mine
Yeah.
changed.
Mine did,
It
see,
did, okay.
it's here.
But I'm talking about on the properties.
It did.
It did, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, hmm.
I'll normally hit tab just to make sure that whatever I've changed actually has taken. Everyone's there? Brandon, are you there? Brianna?
Oh, I'm still working on that.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Did you get someone online?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Robin, are you there? Okay, let's move on. Now we're going to go ahead and place our offset. And the only reason why I'm choosing the offset is because if you notice on your diagram, what follows that offset?
One.
A 1. And if I were to choose the other one, someone would say, but mine's labeled differently. The first one we add gets the 1, right? The way of the progression. So how am I going to add that offset? What's my key tool to use?
Break.
Break. Absolutely. Am I just going to break or am I going to define the break? I'm going to define it. So I'm going to place and what? Drag.
And you're dragging to the ridge.
I'm dragging down along. Just remember, don't drag outside, don't drag inside. You need to give it the definition. It will lose the cursor if you don't treat it properly.
And all your drag, you're not worried about the measurement right now. We can do that later.
I can do that later, absolutely. I'm just trying to get the roof on. Now what do? Do I just pull it? What's my key to get that light kind additional?
Wait a minute. How did you get 3 boxes? I only got 2 boxes when I did the
Then you just placed your brake. You didn't place it and drag it.
Okay. Hold on,
Okay.
let me go back.
So we're going to hold down control and pull it out.
It's okay, it didn't work.
Once you've done that, I need name tags up, please. You guys are going quick today. This is awesome. Now, if you're not there, be honest enough. Let me get you there. Let me help you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
not there.
I chose my brake tool. I'm placing it, dragging it, right? Releasing. You see I have my double brake. 1 brake, 2 brake. Before I grab my brake, what do I press?
Control.
Control, absolutely. Then I'm going to grab that handle and bring it out.
And it doesn't matter what the measurements are. You put that later.
Absolutely. My biggest thing right now is to say, how do we get that roof on there? If I sit there and spend all that time trying to remember slide up and down, I'm wasting valuable time because the system gives me the ability to just click on to a defined measurement and change it while it's in blue. When I add this roof, what happens to my measurements? They're in blue, aren't they? What does blue mean? Active for change, absolutely. So I can click on to where I've got 10.9. My picture shows me that it should be 12. Now, mine came out looking like this.
Yeah.
Oh, say, what do I need to do? Tie it in, absolutely. Tell me how to do it. Walk me through it.
Just drag the tip.
Well, if I just try to drag it, look what happens.
Click and drag.
Click what?
The tip of the, activated.
How do I activate it?
Click it.
Click what?
I'm sorry, the end of the main roof, the main hip.
Well, wait a minute. I'm trying to do that. What have I not activated fully?
The roof.
The roof, absolutely. I have to get my handles, do I
The
not?
handle.
I have to have those handles. Now I can grab that handle and tie it in.
You're turning into the ridge, and into the ridge,
It is.
but
There it is right there. It's still tying in. It's basically, I'm actually telling it to bring it in and build it into the roof as far as it can. So I take that handle, and when I say tie in, I'm making sure it's where this ridge is. So if I were to move this ridge up, it would be right here. And that's exactly where my handle stopped.
so it's not.
It's physically not touching, it has to be pulled in. So you have to think in terms of, if I were to draw two straight lines on each side of that ridge, and I'm gonna tie in from any direction, I just need to make sure it's hitting this line somewhere. Okay? Good question.
I'm missing.
Does everyone have their little roof added on?
How do Lori,
Yes.
the other day when we were tying that into the gable, is because it was something kind of quirky going on and it looked weird. How do we know? What am I looking for here to know that I need to?
So this, when I added mine, looked like that.
Okay, mine doesn't look
So
like
it needs to help.
It needs to fully tie in, absolutely. Remember yesterday when I was walking around and some of yours were totally flat and you couldn't get it to look, we didn't have valleys and we didn't have this. And the purpose of looking at that was to say, our measurements are off, they're wrong. This one offset isn't nearly big enough to support another offset built onto it. So what this is just telling me is that, hey, Laurie, can you grab me and go ahead and pull me in as far as you need to so I can tie into that roof properly?
So if mine doesn't have, mine already has that point there, so I don't need to.
It could be that yours actually started lower. Mine was looking at the build here
Mhm.
and just wanted to stop. But I pulled it on in and tied it in. Now let me ask you guys a question. I'm down 4'4", right? Where I started, the book shows 5. Does it matter? Have I changed anything with regard to the total number of squares on this roof by not coming down 5 feet? Absolutely not. It's kind of like what we were talking about with the rooms. You see how there's a similarity? All right, does everyone have their little roof? What if I need to change it? What if it doesn't come out as far as I pulled it out? What do I need to do?
Pull it. Activate it.
Activate it. Okay, I've activated it. Now what do I do?
Drag.
Grab the handle.
The handle.
I'm gonna bump that handle backwards towards the roof, right? And then I'm going to get into that active blue, click onto it, and put my measurement in. Much easier than trying to scroll constantly. I want you to just bring it out 3 feet. So if you're not at 3 feet, go ahead and make it 3 feet. It looks like it's probably 2 on the drawing, but we'll go 3.
Okay, so
Now, the only thing different about my roof versus the one in your book is the label. Did it automatically sub to the main hip? It did, didn't it? Why? Why did it automatically sub? Not because of the label,
Tied it.
because of
The order
our best friend,
control.
control. Remember yesterday we were saying the difference is, this is one of the differences between roof and rooms. When I use control in a room on the interior, does it automatically subgroup that next room to the room I just pulled it off of? No, it's just giving me a like-kind additional, right? But in the roofs, when I use control, it's still giving me a like-kind additional, but it automatically subgroups it. I don't have to worry about doing that myself.
It's not giving me the option to change that to 3. You know how you click on one side and it gives you the option to do the opposite side, change the
Okay,
number?
so we're activating our roof. This outer handle is what you need to move,
All right.
okay? All you're wanting to do is to move it far enough to bump it out to where you activate this blue for change, this measurement for change in blue. Once that's active, then I can click onto it, put my measurement in, and I'm done.
It's not doing it. 3.
I chose 3. It doesn't matter. I just wanted you to change it.
It totally messed up the shape of everything. It's not even looking like that.
So how do I change the name of this little addition to the roof? Right click what? What is right clicking doing for you?
Can you rename it for me?
You absolutely
Yeah,
can.
I had it right first, and then when I went to change this, it just totally messed up. Right here.
Does everyone have what I have on the screen? Who needs help?
What she said, I want it. You want to keep it right as well.
Absolutely. Go ahead and label it.
This was right at first, and then
Only
tried
for
to change it to
this
3, it wouldn't give me the
exercise.
option
Child,
where
if I were in the
where you can
field,
type in the number
I
there.
probably would not be renaming it. I would probably not even show my label. But
Let me
just
see
for
that
this
back.
purpose, we'll go
We have
ahead
to-
and label.
Oh no, it did before this.
Okay, did you pull the?
Hold on.
Look at this.
See, that's how I had it before. It was a little smaller.
Now you can bring it to the blue. Activate.
It won't let me. That's what I was trying to tell her. But it's right here.
This one.
It wasn't doing it before.
You have to do the opposite of it.
I know. I was doing that, but it wasn't doing it before. And that's why I kept start pulling that back out farther. So now that it's doing that,
Okay, if your neighbor is struggling and you can help, please
but it
assist.
wasn't doing it before. That's why I started pulling it out, and that's when it
And
messed
then
up.
you just turn it off, because this is still a demo of what we're doing. You're not, you have the real live exactly.
Frustrating. Thank you for your help. though.